a political party that is this opposed to abortion, that believes abortion is so awful that women should either go to jail or be killed for having one, would be huge supporters of adoption, right? Two loving parents taking in a baby that might otherwise have been aborted. It's a beautiful thing, right? Well, not for this Republican Party. The other thing that happened over the weekend was a speech by former Vice President Mike Pence at the Gridiron Dinner, a fancy white tie, closed door event attended by politicos, journalists, and celebrities every year. Initially, Pence made news for taking a tough line against his former boss, Donald Trump, but it was a crude joke he made that has some, including the White House, calling for an apology. The joke was directed at Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who was not in attendance. Buttigieg and his husband Chasten adopted two prematurely born twins back in 2021. Like most parents, they took time, paternity leave, to be with their newborns, especially as they needed some extra care. At the time, right-wing Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who professes to be pro-life, mocked Buttigieg for taking time off, saying he was trying to figure out how to breastfeed. A year and a half later, Pence clearly wanted to get in on the action, even if it was old news. Here's what he said. When Pete's two children were born, they took 2 months maternity leave, whereupon thousands of travelers were stranded in airports, the air traffic system shut down, and airplanes nearly collided on our runways. Pete's the only person in human history to have a child, and everyone else gets postpartum depression. Now, there's a lot of things you could call this. Distasteful, unfunny, gross, unchristian, homophobic, sexist, bigoted. Let's unpack it. For a devout Christian like Pence to make fun of another devout Christian like Buttigieg for having children and spending time with them is, of course, absurd. Next, to use anybody's children as a punchline is also the lowest of the low. It's beneath Pence, or at least it should have been. Calling Buttigieg's absence maternity leave, when a real thing called paternity leave exists and is the correct phrasing, is clearly meant to be a jab at Buttigieg's sexuality, except, of course, it's actually implying he's a woman. Intentionally, I'm sure. Finally, using postpartum depression, a very real and scary thing that many women have to suffer through, to make a political joke is just cheap and lazy. I guess we shouldn't expect anything less from a party defined more by its cruelty and politics of revenge than actual policies and principles. Compassion for a father of two twin preemies, support for adoptive parents, a celebration of family values? Not when he's a Democrat and gay. Nope, that makes him an enemy. And even his kids are fair game for Pence. Disgusting and shameful, but we knew that already. That's it for me. See you next week.